Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Opposition leader hits back at critics over large shadow cabinet. Advocates Network calls on Jamaicans to keep government in check for 2024 on governance issues. And later in sports, former champions Cavalier climbs to 4th in local Premier League. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. Opposition leader Mark Golding is this afternoon seeking to justify the composition of the new shadow cabinet. The changes have received mixed feedback from observers. A 26-member shadow cabinet with 7 new faces and 10 women. A strategic move, according to the opposition leader Mark Golding. His comments come despite criticisms from political commentators that his previous shadow cabinet was ineffective and that there will be no gain from the announced changes. But Mr. Golding has defended his decision. He said he has received positive feedback from multiple stakeholders. The opposition leader also responded to those who are of the view that his shadow cabinet gives a view of what is to come if he is elected Prime Minister.
I know people are obsessed with the numbers of bodies in the cabinet. I'm not as focused as others on that. I think what matters is whether you're delivering an effective government to the people. I would say it's a little bigger than what would be likely when we're in government, but I'm not very fixated on it because there's no cost attached to it.
In relation to policies, Mr. Golding says those will not be published before the People's National Party puts out its manifesto. However,
we will continue to put forward our views on issues. We may not get very specific and granular before a manifesto is published, but we will continue to show the direction in which we intend to go, what our priorities are. We do that in the budget debate every year. We do that at annual conference when I give my presentation. And individual spokespersons from time to time provide their ideas as to solutions to problems. So that's a constant thing that we do. But we're not really going to get into specific policy formulation prior to a manifesto.
But why?
There are risks that are attendant on that because others can appropriate the idea or whatever it may be. And you're not in a position to implement it anyway until you're in government. So the time to get down to brass tacks, so to speak, is when a manifesto is published.
Following months of relative quiet around the constitutional reform process, one civil society group is this afternoon calling for more information about the process. The details in this report. Jamaicans are being tasked to dig deeper for information into what could be the possible changes to the constitution as the country seeks to become a republic. The suggestion comes from the Advocates Network. According to the network, the government has failed to keep Jamaicans informed about what could be the required changes and possible implications, if any.
As we engage in important dialogue about changing our constitution, it is important that Jamaicans make their voices heard in that arena. We're going to a referendum. This is something we've never seen since our independence. And so we need to be fully informed. And we are disappointed that there's not enough public education. But there's so much information on the internet and available all over. As responsible citizens, we need to ferret out that information.
According to a RGR Gleaner Commission Don Anderson poll last year, only 45% of respondents want to see Jamaica become a republic. Another important issue is that of the Integrity Commission. It's why the Advocates Network says for 2024, the government needs to be kept in check. It says with several pieces of legislation to be passed this year, Jamaicans should be very meticulous in scrutinizing the. And we do apologize for the abrupt end to that story. The start of a new school term was disrupted for several schools in Westmoreland on Monday. This after residents blocked a section of the Hertford Main Road, demanding that the road be fixed. Karen Simpson has the details.
Several schools in Westmoreland had to shut their gates Monday morning after scores of taxi operators withdrew their services, joining residents in protest of what they say is the deplorable road condition.
Right now, we're tired to be put on the back burner. Right now we want road.
The road has been in a deplorable condition for many, many years now. And the residents is actually showing that they cannot endure it no more.
The people say they are tired of the temporary fixes and want the problem addressed once and for all.
The MP I know has allocated money to NWA from 2022 to fix the road, and until today, nothing has been taking place. Nothing is taking place.
Our news center contacted Janelle Ricketts, Community Relations Officer at the National Works Agency NWA Western Office.
The Hartford Roadway in Westmoreland is one of the corridors that is being given active consideration by the National Works Agency. We are now in the final stages of the procurement process, and we anticipate that in another couple of weeks, we will be able to make an award and also to commence the works along that particular stretch of roadway.
She says drainage issues contributed to the problem.
Particular stretch of roadway that we'll be focusing on has some drainage issues, and this has led to its deterioration over time. So what we will be doing is significant drainage improvement works there, where we'll be constructing a number of drains, including U drains and V drains. We'll also be raising that section of the roadway and doing base formation as well as the asphalting of that particular section.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
Passengers at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, say the new electronic immigration gates, also known as e-gates, are quick and efficient. TVJ News was among those observing the system last week.
Well, they should have this long time in Jamaica, because everything is just quick and fast. The last time I came here, I was waiting there for like about an hour and a half, 2 hours, because you had more than one flight came in. But the system is really nice. I think they should have this in Kingston, Montego Bay, and like everything is just quick. I like it.
E-gates are self-service barriers used at airports worldwide. They use data stored in passports along with a photo or fingerprint taken at the time of entering to verify the passport holder's identity. After the verification is complete, a physical barrier such as a gate or turnstile opens to permit passage. Attorney at law Nicole Gordon is calling for the women named in the People's National Party PNP Shadow Cabinet to be more vocal on issues related to women. 10 women have been named in the reshuffled Shadow Cabinet announced by opposition leader Mark Golding, announced over the weekend. Now, Ms. Gordon says despite the number of women in Parliament, there has been insufficient representation of the issues affecting women. She is therefore urging those women to change that dynamic and be more purposeful about the representation of gender-related issues.
I am happy that there are more women. When it is that you look at women in Parliament and in government, there is always need for a critical mass for changes to occur. But I don't even see them bringing the issues to the fore. And that is a concern that I have, and I think they should take that up.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Residents of St. Thomas should soon be able to tell the time with the installation of a digital clock in the town of Morant Bay.
It will be a two-sided clock right here on Queen Street. So whether you're coming from the eastern end, which is it's a one-way, or you're walking as a pedestrian from the western end to the eastern end, you'll be able to, from the eastern end to the western end, you'll be able to see the.
The upgraded clock replaces the initial analog clock, which was destroyed in 1951 by a storm. Residents are in high spirits.
That's right now, man. Everywhere else in Jamaica, you go, even New York, you can notice that the clock is in Times Square here, man. So St. Thomas move one more step up.
There was a clock on the whole courthouse. It was destroyed by 51 Storm. I don't know the name of the storm, we call it 51 Storm. And that was it. But I'm telling people right now, say time come.
And it's now time for the Business Minute. Wigton Wind Farm has forged another joint venture with Innovative Energy Company. The companies will be partnering to install solar energy systems at the Sangster International Airport in St. James. In a notice to the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the company shared that the contract with MBJ Airports Limited will see them carrying out the design, engineering and installation of roof-mounted and floating solar photovoltaic systems. The contract sum is valued at $7.78 million. This is at least the second joint venture between Wigton and Innovative Energy Company. Last year, the companies partnered to carry out a similar project at the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. Further afield, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said the U.S. economy added 216,000 jobs in December, 56,000 jobs more than predicted. This brings the nationwide unemployment rate to 3.7%. Job growth was noted in government, healthcare, social assistance, and construction sectors. Transportation and warehousing lost jobs. According to seasonally adjusted data, the U.S. gained more than 2.7 million jobs in 2023. And that's it for the Business Minute. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines government says it is considering a 20% increase in the minimum wage with a view to ensuring that no worker earns less than $50 EC daily. The Ralph Gonsalves administration said it is also looking to increase the length of paid maternity leave. The wage review coincides with the Caribbean Society for Human Resource Professionals report last November found that the island was among the lowest paying countries in the Caribbean, with 73.3% of salaries being below the average market value across the region. On the international scene, India's Supreme Court has reversed a state government's decision to release 11 men convicted of gang raping a pregnant Muslim woman during Hindu-Muslim riots in 2002 and ordered for them to be sent back to jail. The men were serving life sentences for the attack. However, they were released in August 2022 under a provision in India's Code of Criminal Procedure that allows prisoners to be freed once they serve 14 years. The release sparked a global outrage. And the death toll from Japan's devastating New Year's Day earthquake has risen to more than 160. Efforts are continuing to find more than 100 people who remain missing a week later. But bad weather is hampering rescuers, with heavy rain and snow triggering warnings of landslides and building collapsing. The 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck the remote Noto Peninsula, toppling buildings and sparking a major fire. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.